Shalom, sis. Okay, making this video for you. I had to rig something up to hold my camera while I do this, but this is the foundation to the former on how to make unleavened bread for Peshat and also for the feast of unleavened bread. And I might be able to upload this on YouTube, but I'll see. But the base of my formula basically is you're gonna use 1 cup of unbleached flour. Okay, most stores have that. And then you want to mix your, well, I say dry ingredients first. Okay, so I like to, the second ingredient I like to add is the sea salt. And the sea salt is very strong, so I only use about half a teaspoon of sea salt. Okay, for 1 cup of flour. And this is you can tweak this recipe. You don't have to follow my exact recipe. It's just like something to work with as a foundation. And once I add my half a teaspoon of sea salt, I like to mix it with a fork or a whisk because I want the ingredients to be spread out evenly. Now I'm talking from a distance, so you probably hear my voice change in and out. You gonna help me be my cameraman? Cause I need some help. Well, thank you. Point the camera in the bowl, towards the bowl. Now don't point it around our surroundings, but I want people to see this. So I take a whisk to mix the sea salt with the flour. Okay. Now the next ingredient I'm going to add some olive oil. I add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And before I do that, I need to get a fork because I want the olive oil to mix well with the flour. Okay, can I find a fork? I got a fork there. I thought you were going to help.
I did, bro.
That's my son Shavaz. I love him, but Father help this generation. Okay, so I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And I like to drizzle my olive oil over the batter mixture. And you will see what I'm talking about. I don't like this pour it in one spot. I like to drizzle it over it because that'll help spread it out as well. And each of these ingredients has a spiritual message when you are making the bread, okay? And when you do a study on the true ancient wheat, you will learn that, I'm sorry, my camera done dropped. Let me see, can I hold this like that? You will learn that, it truly did provide man with all nutrients, even protein, minerals, vitamins. And this is why you see the word compare the bread that was originally in the days of Adam, before things change and man deplete the sword of its nutrients. But in the days of Adam, the word compare the bread of the earth to the living bread, the bread of heaven. And this is why the words say that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High Yah, also known as Yahuwah, also known as the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay. As the salt, it represents how we are seasoned because you have no flavor in you if the word don't dwell in you. I'm not talking about letters on the paper. I'm talking about the spirit who is the Messiah and the second Adam. So as you see, when I add the oil, it's going to change the texture of the flour into more crumble. Okay. To a crumble texture. Okay. And I like to take my fork and mix this in well. Okay, so I can make sure Let the ingredients spread out evenly. And I use extra virgin olive oil. Again, the olive oil represents the anointing of the Ruach HaKodesh coming upon you. And the Ruach HaKodesh is the 7 eyes and 7 spirits of the Most High Yah. This is the same anointing that fell upon the kings, such as King David, when the prophets came to anoint them when they assumed that office or position over the nation of Israel, known as Yahushua, known as Yahusha. Okay, we bear our Father's name. Was named after him because he created our nation from a righteous lineage, okay, from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, okay. Now, once I get my mixture like the way I want, it's going to be more of a crumble texture. The next mixture I add is my wet ingredients. So the last 2 ingredients is the honey. Now, the honey in the Bible represent the sweetness. And if you read all the different scriptures that pertain to honey, is compared to the word. The word is sweet in our mouth, but bitter to our bellies. And the bitter represent the flesh. Because you know the flesh wars against the Most High Yah, laws, statutes, judgment, and commandments. That's why it's bitter in the belly. The belly also represent your flesh cravings for certain sin. The same way as is compared to the carnal. One of the brothers that I had listened to in the past, how he compared the stomach to the brain, and the stomach is like the second brain, as he says, that if a person becomes hungry, they lose all self-control. In other words, they no longer become human. They act like an animal because they respond in beast nature to fulfill that urge of hunger. Okay, so this is why the Bible compared the stomach or the belly to the flesh, all right, when you do your study. Also, the water represents the word, because we know all life needs water, okay. We know the Messiah is the fountain that possessed the living waters, because he is the one who possessed the 7 eyes and 7 spirits of Yah, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, okay. But you have to go through him to get that. Also, the seed that comes from the flour that is grained up into flour, that represent the seed that comes from the Most High Yah, which is his son. When you read 1 John chapter 3, that seed that's in you will make you to become the son and daughter of Yah, the son and daughter of God. Either you're going to have his seed or you're going to have Satan's seed. There's no in between. Now, so let me get the next 2 ingredients, which is the water, okay. And the water also represent how the word cleanses you, how it makes you holy. That's why we do a carnal baptism, okay. The water is the second witness in the earth. Remember, whatever the Most High made, it's living. It talks to the Father. It can witness to the Father, okay. So how we show that we have entered into the covenant, we also partake in the water baptism, as well as the spiritual water, who is the Messiah. He cleanses us from all sins, make us clean and holy and sanctified and acceptable to be received by the Father. Remember, I keep reiterating that the carnal go in hand with the spiritual, because they are to teach us these spiritual messages and mysteries. And we can see how the physical world operates with the spiritual world. There's a spirit for everything. There's a spirit of depression. There's a spirit of infirmity. There's a spirit of pride, spirit of lust. Do you see where I'm going with this? So it's a spirit for everything that takes place carnally in the world, okay, in the physical world. All right, CJ, I need your help, son. Son, I need your help. Shavaz, come here. I need for you to hold this camera so I can get the water and the honey. I got the honey here. Okay. Hold this camera for me like this. Okay. I'm about almost done. Okay. I need my cup. So you want about 1/4 cup of water to 1 cup of flour. Okay. And you want 1 tablespoon of honey to this mixture. Now what I do, I mix the 2 together, but my water is warm to dissolve the honey. Okay. warm my water up. Let me get this part right here. And what I'm going to do is, since this is a little bit more higher, I'm going to pour this in here. Then I'm going to mix my honey. I need about 1 tablespoon of honey. Let's see. I got to open this up. And what I will do, I think I'm going to either post the written lesson on the bread, how it has a spiritual message for us, and it gives us understanding how we partake or how we are received in salvation, because it starts with the mouth. Some deep things about this salvation, y'all, that the word is teaching us. It starts in the mouth. And this is how we partake in his body, okay? Because when you understand the relationship between the earthly bread to the bread of heaven, then you'll see how our spirit man is fed as well. Our earthly bodies is fed, and our spirit man bodies are fed too as well. Now, I usually look for my fork, and I'll do this mixture. I add this a little bit more water at a time, and I mix the two. And I like doing this way because this way I make sure that the honey is split out evenly in my mixture. Now, if your dough is too sticky, not like Play-Doh texture, all you have to do is add just a little more flour. That's it. That's all. You play with it, okay, till you get the right consistency. Now
it's
this
a little
is
too yellow on the camera.
It's fine, honey. It's fine. Now the next thing I'm doing, I'm gonna add a little more flour, and it's yellow because of what I add the honey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to add a little more flour because this is a little bit too sticky. I want my mixture to be like Play-Doh. There we go. We're getting there. And usually sometimes I do this thing so perfect, I don't have to do this, but it's one of the days. And in the background, you hear the rain. I was rejoicing. My son can tell you I was rejoicing about the rain because there's a spiritual message about the rain, and it's on the channel. But when you understand the Most High creation, and even through His creation, they are speaking these mysteries, so we can have understanding about the about the Father. Okay.
I want to mix.
Too late, son. All right, now. It's almost getting there, y'all. It's a little bit too sticky for me.
Well, I want to knit the dough.
I knit it for this time because I'm trying to get through this recording, baby. Okay? I'll let you make the next batch, okay?
Okay.
And as you can see, Shavaz loves the bread. He been that way all his life. He loved bread, y'all. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I had to kick him out the kitchen because he'd sneak in and try to eat the dough too. But it's a beautiful thing that my baby, well, he's no longer a baby, but my young man here likes bread.
I don't like this.
So it's a little bit still too sticky for me. So, again, I'm about to get there.
3 years later.
3 years later. Oh, you got jokes, little one, huh? Uh-huh. So, now, I think I'm about to get there. Okay. So, I'm basically going to kneel it with my hand. So I can make sure my texture is just right. Because when I roll this out, I don't want it to stick to the surface that I'm going to roll on. So that's why I'm making sure I have this mixture just right. So again, the recipe is 1 cup of flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt, 2 tablespoons of extra virgin cold pressed olive oil. Okay, and the reason why I said that one, because it has more nutrients. You have to look at how they process the oil to make sure you get the right nutrients. Okay. Then after that, a tablespoon of honey mixed with a warm cup of water, not cup of water, but a quarter cup of water. Okay. If your texture is not like Play-Doh, just keep adding a little more flour to it till you get it to the right texture, like I'm doing. I don't want it to be sticky, so when I roll this baby out, I have it right. Now we're getting there. And I usually take my fist because I want to knead the dough, and I just make sure all those ingredients are coming together to form one. Okay. And when you look at the ingredients, that's what makes up the Messiah. Now you begin to understand why the Father commanded the Israelites to keep these holy feast days, because they have deep spiritual meaning. And it'll help you to understand the biblical prophecies and what take place to the bride of the Messiah, to the 144,000, okay, who received the new covenant. Okay. There we go. Now I got it just right. So what I usually do, I work the dough with my hand and I take off about a pinch. So I get a nice flat circle. That's how I work it. I keep working. All you gotta do is pinch it off, squeeze it a couple times in your hand, and work it till you get a nice, beautiful little round circle in your hand. And then I come over here. Wait a minute. Keep the camera down low. Go this way. Keep the camera down low. Hold the camera like this, son. Thank you, baby. So I have a little sheet here, and I'm just going to roll that on out. Now, if it's a little sticky, remember what I told you. Just get a little flour. Put it on your surface. There we go. I'm going to put a little bit too on here. Still a little bit sticky, so let me turn to the other side. I usually roll up and down one direction. Then I go this direction. And you'll see why I do this. Because then I start rolling my my pen like in a clock direction, changing the movement of my pen to, it's like a circle. Okay. Sometimes I'm really good at this and I get a nice flat round unleavened bread cake, but sometimes it don't always work like that. If it don't work, ball it back up and start back up again. But you don't have to be perfect in this. Okay, I see you, son. Get your hands out the bowl. That's what I'm telling you. I had to watch him. He'll eat all the dough up, and then I won't have no bread. Okay. And you want to get as flat as possible. Okay. And now the ought to turn my what you call surface.